Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice, Simple Steps for Showing Up. My name is Brad Draper, and I am grateful you are here. I'm grateful for you and all the things that you do. You are an example to me on pushing forward, on taking action, taking these simple steps and showing up for yourself. I had a really cool conversation. I've had several actually, to where people talk to me about listening to these episodes and then going and taking action and doing so good in life, moving their businesses forward, moving their health forward, moving their life forward. And that's what it's all about. Moving yourself forward and taking action, being there for others. Like from last episode, being an example to yourself, to your kids, to your family, to your loved ones, to those you don't even know. How important it is for you to be there, to be present, and to show up. That makes all the difference. If there is one thing that separates those that massively win and the average, it's the ones that massively win. They just show up every day with intention, with gratitude, and they push. They don't show up when they want to or when they feel good, when they're motivated. They show up regardless because they know that's what it takes. That's the standard. Showing up. I have recently realized that the way I personally do priority lists and the way some of my mentors do priority lists are the same, but I didn't realize that it's not like a known thing. So often people ask me, how do you know what to do next? How do you know what moves the needle? How do you set things in priority to get them done systematically and appropriately? For one, if I can make things a system, i.e., do the same thing repetitiously over and over and over again, I will. And if I have a set of tasks, so a few different movements, we'll call them, and I can do that first movement over and over and over again, like an assembly line, instead of doing the whole assembly line and completing the one piece and then going back and starting a new one and completing the piece, I do that first action over and over and over again. And then once all of them are completed, I move on to the next set. The reason I do this is repetitious monotony yields perfection or close to it. You get better as you do it, but if you do a set of things in order and then go back and redo the set as you complete tasks over and over and over again, you can never really master that first one or any one in between. But if you do the same thing over and over and over again, that's what generates mastery and speed. And by the end, you're phenomenal at it. And then you move on, become phenomenal at it, move on, become phenomenal at it. Becoming phenomenal at different traits, different tasks, different abilities. So my dad was military. He was Navy, worked on submarines. And he has a get it done quick and wait kind of mentality. So if you have a to-do list today, get the whole list done as fast as you can. If you get it done by noon, fantastic. You have the rest of the day to mess around. Do whatever you want. Because the things that you needed to do today are done. If you got it done by 10 a.m., awesome. You have an entire day to do whatever you want. The whole sit at your desk and wait and sit at your desk to keep it from flying away, that mentality is really dumb. And it's a total waste of time. Total waste of energy. Get your tasks done as quickly as you can, and then you're free to do whatever you want. But here is how you prioritize that list. Because we all have the list every day. And it varies. Sometimes there's things that need to happen every day, but it varies quite a bit. And you have those things you love to do. You have those things that are fast. You have those things that you don't mind doing. You have to do whatever. And then there's those things you dread doing. And it's typically most people, and it's not the most efficient way. Most people will go and do the things they love first or the things that are quickest first so they can knock out quite a few things on their list. And then they'll go to the things that they don't mind. And then they'll finish off. Every person that does this style of list will finish off with the thing they hate the most. Why? Because they want to put it off to the end. They'd rather get this huge list done. If I got 10 things to do, or in our case, 5 things to do, the first 4, I bang out quick, and then that's that last one. Thing I hate, the thing I'm dreading. It's that call, that meeting, that email. You got to fix that thing in the house. You dread doing it. You don't want to do it. You use up all this capacity and bandwidth for those first 3, 4 items on the 5 list power list. But then you dread that last one, and you've used up a bunch of energy. I make my biggest decisions earliest in the day. Fun fact. The things that take a lot of energy, I do early on. I schedule all of my food for the day early on when I have full capacity in my decision-making battery. Full energy. I'm not worn down. And then people that do these quick first or what they like first, they get to what they dread and it takes them forever if they even get it done. Sometimes they bump it off. I'll do it tomorrow. I ran out of the day. Took too long. Don't have the ability. Don't have the energy. Don't have the tools. Whatever it is. Excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. I have a friend that is full of excuses. Every time we schedule to do something, bad day, can't do it. Every time he gets home from work, man, that was a bad day. That was a tough day. That was a hard day. I'm tired. I need to sit around. How about where you focus, you find? If you focus on unresourceful things, labeling it as a bad day, guess what it's going to be? It's all you're going to see, bad. When did you decide it was a bad day? Because you decided that. Every day is a great day, if you choose it to be. How I prioritize lists. I do the thing that sucks first. The thing I'm not looking forward to first. That email, that call, that conversation, that decision. Fix that thing, build that thing. Email campaign, whatever it is, the thing that you dread doing, do it first. 1. You have the most energy to attack it. Your decision-making skills, that battery I talk about, it's at its fullest capacity when you're first starting in the day. Do it when you have that much energy. 1, you'll get it done faster. And 2, you got a whole list to do afterwards. You have everything else to do afterwards. You can't let it take that long. So you slam it out. And guess what happens when you slam out the thing that sucks the worst? Everything else is downhill. Momentum. Big Mo comes on in because you just attacked the biggest peak of the mountain. And now it's all downhill and it's gravy from here. It's things that you like to do. It's things that are fast. You could check off that list like crazy. But that only happens when you've chunked off the thing that sucked. So the priority list goes like this. Do the thing you want to do least first. The thing that sucks. The thing that is the hardest. Hit that first. I don't care if it's of higher importance. You do the thing you don't want to do first. And then you do the most important thing next, second. And then you do the rest. Whether it's the thing that you don't mind doing, the thing you like doing, the thing that goes fast. Those come after. What comes first is the thing you don't like. So you can build momentum. and have so much joy in just annihilating the rest of your list. Otherwise, and traditionally, you remember the thing you did last. So if you did all these things you like first and pinged it out while you had full energy and you're just wheezing through, it's a great morning, and then you get to this thing you dread and it takes you hours, which should have taken you like 30 minutes or less, but it took you 2 hours. Well, that was like half your working day, 4 hours later. Because you dreaded on it for an hour, took you 2 hours, and then it took an hour to wind down. So it took 4 hours to do the whole thing, half your working day. If you're in a 9 to 5, that is. And then you look back and say, that day sucked, man. I had to do this thing. It took most of the day. Well, what if you banged it out in the first 30 minutes and then just cruised through the rest of what you need to accomplish? How different would your day look? How much more efficient would you be? Sliding in home plate at the end of the day. Stoked. Tons of momentum. And what happens when you leave the day with a ton of momentum? That's right. You enter the next day with a ton of momentum. And you just keep on building and building and building like a snowball rolling down a mountain. Impossible to stop once it gets big enough. Because you're unwilling to deviate from the standard. So build your priority list appropriately. Number 1, do what you hate the most. Do the hardest thing first. Do the most important thing second. And then it's everything else on the list. It's that simple. Give it a try. Today, if you're listening to this episode right when it comes out, bright and early Thursday mornings, do it today. Do the thing you hate the most first. Thing that sucks the most first. And then the highest priority, and then everything else. And see how your day goes. Pay attention to the energy you have, the momentum you have. That freight train just rolls on. If you've listened to this at the end of the day, do it tomorrow. The next opportunity to attack a priority list, set the priority in that capacity, and then tell me how it goes. Report back to me what you learned. Teach other people this concept that for my entire life, I thought was pretty basic, and I thought everybody knew this because this is the way my dad taught me from when being a little kid. We used to build houses. My dad used to flip houses. He would renovate homes and rent them out or flip them. I started doing that when I was 13 years old. And he'd give me the list of things to do, and I had to attack it. And I was taught this at a young age. And a lot of times he actually put the list in order of what to do, but the order was the thing that sucks worst, and then the thing most important, and then everything else. I didn't really realize he was installing this in my mind without even telling me. And then finally he told me, attack this, attack this, attack this, in this order. And this is why. Give it a try. See how your life changes. How can you move the needle forward by this simple readjustment of priorities? You're not even doing a different set of lists. You're doing the same tasks you would have done in a different order. Now, what happens in your life if you do that with other things? It's not just making big changes, but it's those simple steps. Reorganizing the list. You're doing the same list, but just doing it in a different order. Do other things a little bit differently, a different way. Instead of having your biggest meal at the end of the day, put it in the middle of the day. See what happens, see what changes. Your body composition might actually reflect that in a positive way. Drinking more water earlier in the day keeps you more hydrated through the end of the day, because when you drink water, it doesn't instantly go into your cells. You can't be like, oh, I'm thirsty, chug a bunch of water, I'm good. No, it needs to assimilate into your body. So I bet you drink a bunch and front load the work. Then watch how your day changes. How much energy you have at that 2, 3, 4 o'clock when you're hydrated with electrolytes. How about using filtered water? Just a thought. Changing the grade of food that you have. Just a thought. Where you buy your food. You're buying the food either way. Buy it at a different place. Do a different thing. Change what you're doing today, same task, a little different. See how it moves you. And that's how we're going to land this plane. That's how we're going to touch down. Do something a little different. And then analyze how your life is different. Is it more resourceful? Is it neutral? Did it make things more difficult? Which, by the way, is not necessarily unresourceful. Have this conversation with your friends and family. Teach somebody the priority list. How to prioritize their time. Assume they don't know this. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm assuming you don't know this. Maybe you do know this. Maybe this is common knowledge, but it's coming to me that it's not. Leave me a review. Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify. Share this with your friends and your family. Continue this conversation with me. Reach out to me. My handle is Mr. Brad Draper on all socials. Like it, subscribe to it, download it for future listings. Until next week, I love you guys. Bye.